So our next class is the Unit 2 test. We have the stuff we covered tonight, solving the equations with fractions in them, which you guys seem to be catching on fairly well. We also have the stuff that we started out the class with at the beginning, where we had the fractions with our order of operations, where we had things like the 3/4 times 5/8 over 2 1/3 plus 1/2, and you solve to find that answer. Or things like 5/6 plus 2/3 times 1/4 to the power of 3 or whatever, things like that. Also, we have similar problems that like we've had before. Are operations with fractions with variables in them. Adding something like 5 over 2x squared plus 3 over 12x. Actually, the 3 probably isn't a problem, but that's okay. We need to find a common denominator. The least common denominator between 2x squared and 12x is going to be 12x squared. So the question is, where did the 12x squared come from? Well, remember it's about factoring. We're going to take our 2x squared and our 12x and we're going to factor them. 2, of course, just factors to 2. Then we have the x squared. 12 factors to 2 times 3, then the x. I can write this as 2 squared times 3 times x. If you recall, our least common multiple or least common denominator takes all of the numbers, all of the factors in both numbers and puts them together. So we have 2's, we have 3's, and we have x's. And then it takes the largest power. We have a 2 squared, that's the largest power on the 2. 3 is just by itself, so 3 to the 1, or just 3. And x has a squared on it. So 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12, and then times the x squared. So 12x squared is our least common denominator. So what do we multiply a 2x squared by to get 12x squared? Well, just 6. So 5 times 6 is 30. What do we multiply 12x by to get 12x squared? X. So 3 times x is just 3x. And now we go to add 30 over 12x squared plus 3x over 12x squared is 30 plus 3x, or 3x plus 30, either one, over 12x squared. Some of you that have had more algebra might realize that can be reduced by dividing everything by 3, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Or having something like 8x squared over 9 times, let's use the parentheses, 15 y over 16 x. So I'd pull out the numbers, 8 over 9 times 15 over 16, and I'll reduce them. 9 and 15 can both be divided by 3, which will give me 3 and 5. 8 and 16 can be divided by 8 to give me 1 and 2. So I get 5 over 6. So the numerical part of my answer is going to be 5 over 6. For the variables, on top I have x squared and y. On bottom I just have x. So now it's just simplifying the fraction X is going to be on top because the higher power was on top. 2 minus 1 is 1, so it's x to the 1, or just x. Y, there's nothing to cancel with, so the y is just on top. So it's 5xy over 6. We're going to have subtraction and division with those as well. Works pretty much the same. You might have something like this. 2/5 to the power of 6. How do we do that? Remember, we split it up. It's 2 to the power of 6 over 5 to the power of 6. 2 to the power of 6 is 64. 5 to the power of 6 is 15,625. Might have something like this, 3y to the 5th over 7b to the 3rd m, all to the power of 3. Well, first thing we would have to do is see if there's anything we could reduce inside the parentheses, and in this case there's not. So now each piece in the parentheses has to be taken to the power of 3. So what's 3 to the power of 3? 27. Y to the 5th to the power of 3? Y to the 15th. When we're taking an exponent to another power, the powers are multiplied. So 5 times 3 is 15. 7 to the power of 3 is 343. B to the 3rd to the power of 3 is b to the 9th. And m to the power of 3 is just m to the 3rd. Let's see. You might have to find something like this. You may be asked to simplify. So you're going to distribute the 7x to the 5th times 2x to the 3rd is going to be 14x to the 8th. 7x to the 5th times negative 4x to the 7th is negative 28x to the 12th. Then minus the 9x to the 8th. 14x to the 8th and negative 9x to the 8th is 5x to the 8th minus 28x to the 12th. You could leave it like that, or you could switch the order. Either one is acceptable. If you change the order, of course, it's negative 28x to the 12th plus 5x to the 8th. You're going to have proportions like 5 over x equals 30 over 12. Cross multiply. 5 times 12 is 60 divided by 30. X equals 2. Or you might have something like 3 over 4 equals 7x over 56. Oops. 56. Cross multiply and divide, or do the cross multiplication and solve to figure out what x has to be. Or even possibly like an x minus 7 over 9 equals 12 over 27, find x. Things like that. Any questions on what I've listed so far? Sounds like loads of fun. You will need to be able to find the least common multiple, which is like the least common denominator for the fractions. So I might give you something like 12 x to the 5th y squared and 30 x to the 3rd y to the 7th. Realistically, we can ignore the variables if we really want to. Those we can just tack on at the end. 12 factors into 2 times 2 times 3. 30 factors into 2 times 3 times 5. So we have 2's, 3's, and 5's. Is there anything that has more of power bigger than 1? The 2, there's 2 of them there, so that's 2 squared. Nothing else has a power bigger than 1. So now then we've got x to the largest power is the 5th. For LCM, we're taking the largest power. And y to the 7th. So 2 squared is 4 times 3 times 5 is 60. X to the 5th, y to the 7th. You'll need to be able to reduce. I'll give you 12 20ths. Both of those can be divided by 4 to give me 3/5. You'll need to be able to change from an improper fraction to a mixed number. 51 eighths is 6 3/8. Or to go the other direction, if I give you 7 3/4, go to 31/4. From a mixed number back into an improper fraction. Then, of course, all of our operations with fractions, add, subtract, multiply, divide, fractions, mixed numbers, and so on. Solving equations, basic equations like we looked at tonight. Ones with fractions, ones without fractions. You might have something like this. X to the 9th over 45 over x to the 5th over 15. How would you solve something like that? This is x to the 9th over 45. What this is saying is divided by x to the 5th over 15, right? It's just a different way of writing it. For most people, once it's written out like this, it makes more sense. So now we're going to change it into multiplication. X to the 9th over 45 times 15 over x to the 5th. I can I'll take the 45 and 15. Actually, it's probably easiest just to multiply it out. X to the 9th times 15 is 15x to the 9th. 45 times x to the 5th is 45x to the 5th. 15 and 45 will reduce to 1 over 3. Notice I'm going to leave the 1 off for now. X to the 9th and x to the 5th is going to be on top because the 9 is the larger power. 9 minus 5 is 4, so it's x to the 4th over 3. Yes?
If we put 1x on the test.
If you put 1x to the 4th over 3, that's fine. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, this is a tough test with all the algebra and the variables on it and the fractions. It's kind of a tough one. So make sure you're ready for it. There is a new quiz due tomorrow. That's Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. And there is still a new homework due for Thursday at the start of class. And of course, Thursday is Unit 2 test. Those of you in New Richmond, I did send instructions that if you want to do it earlier in the day, you can. Just have to go to the ITV office, and they'll direct you from there. Either they'll have it or they'll have it sent down to the library for you. Those of you here in Rice Lake, if you want to, I will be in this classroom starting probably at about 11:30 on Thursday. I have class from 12:30 through this one, but just come on in and I'll set you up in the next room to take the test if you want to take it early. With that, you guys have the last 5 or 6 minutes here. If you want to work on stuff, you can.